After months of escaping her stalkers, the poor mother began hiding inside an orphanage, singing a lullaby for her newborn baby, Lu Shu. When the owner of the orphanage came to kick her out, she took one last glance at her baby and asked the lady to look over him while she got some medicine. But after the lady agreed and saw his walnut pendant, the mother disappeared, never to be seen again. 18 years into the future, Lu had become a broke man who took care of his sister, Kaede, because he kept spending all his money on festival scams to satisfy her like a simp. As they walked over to see the main event, the flames nearly burnt Lu's face off, but in that instant, time froze. The entire universe had been held at a standstill, and the walnut pendant glowed in a golden hue. Nobody else noticed it, but Lu realized that the man in front of him wasn't creating optical illusions, but that all of his powers were likely magic. When the show was over, Lu wanted to know the source behind his flames, so he snuck into the backstage with his sister. As they watched the mysterious men speak, one of them fired a tranquilizer at the magician, and Kaede screamed in fear. Their positions were compromised, but Lu said it's not like they saw them shoot the man dead in front of them, and were going to report it to the police or anything like that. The dumbasses actually bought his lies, so Lu tried running away, but their leader felt uneasy letting Lu leave. As they walked away, a man asked them if they would be interested in spreading the gospel of Jesus Christ, but Lu said he wasn't interested in his crypto rug pull and walked away. He was already broke after getting into crypto and wondered how their world had become so horrible, so to comfort him, Kaede reminded him that they're not blood related. While he was preparing dinner, she told him that the only thing she wants to eat was his nut. Sorry, I meant his walnut. But Lu decided to just leave and get her some ramen instead. As he crossed the street in the freezing snow, RecapKun was finally about to isekai another victim, and completely smashed Lu. His soul began leaving his body as RecapKun transported his soul into an isekai anime. But because this is a Chinese anime, the god of the world bestowed Lu with a cheat leveling system, and the walnut on his pendant began floating. As he ascended to the sky, the walnut finally broke open and released all of its energy into restarting his heart. After he resurrected from death, there was one thing on his mind: he will never be broke again. So he began telling the man to give him all his money, but random numbers began popping up above him until he ran away. At the corner store, he tried buying ramen, but the store manager was shocked to see the blood falling from his head, so Lu ran away and bumped into a couple on his way home. As soon as he arrived, Lu went inside to take a bath and noticed how the wound had completely healed away, but there was now a golden scar on his hand. When he tried activating it, he saw a lottery system letting him know all the coins he's gathered, and he realized that those must have came from everyone's negative emotions. He decided to consume all of his balance into a wheel of fortune, because crypto gambling wasn't enough. As soon as he was about to lose all of his money without a single reward, the last spin finally landed on the jackpot, and a scroll appeared before his eyes. It had the same lyrics as the lullaby his mother sang for him, so he began singing it out. With the words of the song, the scroll disintegrated into an energy orb in front of him, and from the distant galaxies, a light speared towards the earth, and Lu began absorbing all of it. When he opened his eyes, he was floating in front of a solar system. But after losing all his coins, he realized that he could become rich by pissing off his sister all night. While they stayed up watching sitcom animes, Lu felt a sudden explosion inside of his body, so when he went on the roof to investigate, he saw two suspicious men hopping on the top of the roofs. Before he was spotted, Lu tried covering his mouth, but the men had already noticed his presence. They asked him what he was doing up here, so Lu said it wasn't like he noticed how suspiciously they were jumping around like superhumans or anything like that. The dumbass morons actually believed him again, and told him to go home before leaping away. As he waited inside, Kaede wondered who he was talking to, but a man fell outside the window, so Lu forced his sister to stay inside while he went to check. Her anger allowed him to gain a lot more coins, but she sneaked out from behind him and told him to call the ambulance. But Lu was too broke to pay the fee. He wanted to just leave him outside, but when the system granted him coins, Lu realized that the man was pretending to be unconscious. He told his sister that they will just leave his body to freeze all night, just like his girlfriend who dumped him after having a train ran on her by 3 men, because he was too ugly.
You're a victim!
After that violation, he gained 470 coins, and Lu was glad that he was on his way to becoming the next demon lord. The man tried begging for water, so Lu gave him a yellow snowball instead, but the man blew it away and begged for water again. However, Lu started pushing him down and farming his ass for coins. He told him that he was just trying to help him rest, but the man had enough and grabbed his arm, trying to burn it off. In an instant, however, his heart negated the burn and began dissipating the fire no matter how many times he tried. He continued gaining coins off this dumbass interaction, so the man said he was just kidding and wanted to leave. As he got up, Lou told him to avoid the alleys because he might see his wife cheating on him again, and smiled like a ruthless f***ing savage while going back to his home. Inside his room, he decided to spend all his coins buying the first item and ate the celestial fruit. Before he knew it, a light beam rushed towards him from the edge of the cosmos, and he was transported back into his solar system, where the celestial fruit became another planet. With all the energy leaving his body, he snapped back to reality and saw the tree on his hand. He was now able to carry the bed up with ease, so he wanted to begin farming up even more coins. Seeing the fire on the news, he decided to create a different flame war in his school's group chat, and he gained thousands of points instantly. At his shop the following morning, some of his classmates saw him selling eggs, but pretended like they didn't see him. This had become his daily life. He told the man next to him and explained how most people were too embarrassed to be friends with a broke guy. After letting those words out, 3 lackeys approached Lou and tried making fun of him for being poor, but he said that they smelled worse than his expired eggs, pissing them off once again. Their leader tried calling him ugly, but Lou said that his mom is ugly. The guy couldn't believe how hard he was clapped, so he decided to buy all the eggs to act rich. However, Lou was a genius and gave him all of them, announcing that some dickhead just purchased all of his eggs, and gaining thousands of coins in the process. The guy tried flashing his VIP card as a source of payment, knowing that Lou can't accept card payments. However, money was stacked on the table, and the main love interest, Saria, finally entered the chat. She walked off, and Lou told the lackey to shower next time, because his breath stinks worse than his attitude. At class, everyone sees the news of the superhuman awakeners roaming the world, and one of the kids screams that an awakener was found on the rooftop. As Lou got closer, his body sensed the danger surrounding him, and while running up the stairs, he realized that the girl from earlier was another awakener. On the rooftop, the delinquent threatened to throw the principal off, but Lou thought this was a good time to call his classmate ugly to gain more coins. Seeing all the ugly CGI characters, Lou realized this was the perfect chance to farm even more coins. The student raised the principal up, threatening to throw him because he's too young to go to jail. But Lou stepped up and began reciting the fucking Constitution. He told him that he was committing a serious crime, and gained thousands of coins when everyone thought he was being a moron. As everyone was distracted by Lou's dumbassary, the officers ran towards the man and neutralized him. One of the girls came up to him and thought it was so hot how he saved the day, but he told her that he's not interested in girls that look like men.
Damn!
This was exactly everything he needed to get all the Fortnite V-Bucks he wanted, but when he entered class, he saw 2 suspicious scientists standing in the room, and they were about to force him to have a blood test. Without anywhere to escape, Lou was forced to take the men's small syringes inside of him. Walking back home, he saw the weirdo from earlier on.
你好，很高兴见到你。
你高兴得太早了。
Yo, that one there was a violation. Personally, I wouldn't have it.
At home, he saw how his sister had developed a fever from all the cold weather, so he tried gambling for a celestial fruit that could cure his sister. After 30 spins, he was about to lose all of his money, but he finally won one of the fruits. After winning 4 more of the fruits, he fed them to his sister, and her fever instantly disappeared. Throughout the day, he decided to give her the rest of his fruit, saying that consuming them will allow her to become awakened like him. However, he begins farming up coins again by calling her useless for not ever doing her homework, and that her family abandoned her because she was such an ugly, useless loser.
What did he say?
The following morning, the teacher explains that special students will be taught under a new instructor, and Lou remembers seeing him before. One of the girls was Saria, and one by one, the teacher called everyone up until Lou was the last student. Additionally, a new transfer student called Jang will be joining the class, so the girl sitting next to Lou offered her seat, because she doesn't want to deal with his stinky smell every day. At night, Lou went to attend the secret class, and wondered why the suspicious man was going to be their teacher. The man revealed that all their blood was tested with a special alloy, and the darker the mixture their blood created, the higher their ranking. From A to F, those with the highest ranks are capable of annihilating entire cities, and he dismissed them after revealing everyone's ranking. After class, everyone talked badly behind Lu's back since he was stuck at F rank, but Lu wasn't at all bothered by the others, texting them that their moms are F rank. At night, Lu consumed the last of his celestial fruit and saw that it was now purchasable in his item shop. He wondered if his Wheel of Fortune has unlocked a new item, but this time, it was some expired tofu. With his remaining coins, he began rolling all night, and after hours of burning through his coins, he finally hit the jackpot and unlocked a new scroll. But before he could read it, the scroll's energy snapped into Kaede's head, and a dark energy emanated from the heavens, allowing her to see the solar system as well. As he laid in bed, he wondered if there was a connection between their two solar systems, but saw that he needed to roll 80 more expired tofu before he could unlock a new item. He wondered if he could turn his coins into cash, so the following morning, he began spreading the expired smell around, allowing him to gain extra coins. But when one of the people tried it and thought it was delicious, the entire town lined up to try some of it. Days began passing with him being a straight-up menace in society, and before long, he unlocked every star one by one. His life had began taking a new turn, allowing him to sell his stinky foods for more money, while also gaining as much coins as possible. Before long, he summoned the last of the celestial foods, and his solar system was finally complete. The same song he heard when he was a baby began emanating from around him, and he consumed the energy of the star, exploding it into a million different flames. A mysterious dagger appeared before his eyes, and he realized that the giant star was his soul this entire time, so he tried summoning the sword using his soul power. Using it, however, completely exhausted all of his energy, and he wondered just how powerful he would become once he completed all 7 solar systems. The following day, the teacher introduced them to the Spirit Stone, a powerful item that unlocks hidden powers through meditation. At home, Lu tried combining its power with his new sword, but the sheer violence of his celestial nap nearly overwhelmed him. As he walked outside, he noticed a strange old man practicing his swordsmanship, and the old man tried showing off, but Lu had already disappeared. At school, the class leader shows off his strength in arm wrestling by defeating everyone. But when Lu appears, he tries challenging him to a duel. However, Lu was as still as a statue, and crushed all of his hopes, telling him that they can try with the other hand if he was unsure. Once again, he completely destroyed him, and thanked him for allowing him to awaken once again. During lunch, Lu hadn't had enough of farming people for coins, so he released his toxic gas food to gain even more because he's the menace spirit reincarnated. During midnight, his mind quaked, and he told his sister to stay quiet while he went to investigate. He saw a Chinese Eren Yeager bowing his head, and the old man welcomed him as the leader of the Heavenly Network. With the world being at war, the mysterious leader asked him if he would like to become the last Heavenly Network member, but Mr. Lee rejected his offer. The man told him that their truce would be the only thing that could bring peace, but left and promised that he would bring Mr. Lee the medicine he requested. He took a sharp glance towards Lu and walked away. The following morning, Lu took interest in Mr. Lee's swordsmanship, but wished someone could take care of Kaede while he trained. So at school, his negative emotion counter kept going up, and he wondered what she was up to. After classes were over, the main love interest glanced towards him. When he got back home, he saw Mr. Lee helping his sister with her math homework, but she called him an ugly old senile man, and the negative emotions all came to Lu. He realized that he could use his sister to farm up even more coins, since they were somehow connected, but Mr. Lee was ready to teach him the sword. Before they started, Lu begged Mr. Lee to teach her every single day and pissed both of them off. Once Kaede left back to her house, Master Lee brought out weighted vests, each of them weighing at 300 pounds, but Lu threw them up in the air like they were a toy, revealing that he was one of the awakened humans. Seeing his sheer power, the old man decided to take a different approach and aimed a piece of paper towards the wall. The birds flew away, and magical aura began to engulf the paper. "I'll teach you that anything in the world can be cut," the old man said, and with precise movements, he slashed the paper downwards, creating a fissure in the ground that cut through steel. This was his first lesson, and he told him that mastering a single skill is better than being average at 10, so he commanded him to cut through air using a sword. Lu was determined to master his power, and began slashing through the air. With his stance being terrible, Master Lee corrected it as he went on, and looked forward to seeing how well Lu would correct his abilities moving forward. Hours passed, and by the 999th slash, Lu finally felt the wind whirl around him. At night, they drank a warm drink together, and Master Lee wondered what makes a person stronger than the rest. Lu thought that a person is powerful if they don't follow the rules, but Master Lee revealed that it takes character, experience, and determination to be the strongest. He asks Lu if he would take on more responsibility if it meant becoming stronger. But when he thought about those words, Lu revealed that the only person he cared about was his little sister, and said that he would never help anyone else, especially since nobody helped him when he was younger. Just trying to survive in this world with his sister is enough already, so he doesn't dream about becoming a hero for now. Master Li takes his giant fucking flask that's probably compensating for his persuasion, and promises that he will continue teaching Lu. The following morning, Kaede was beginning to finally learn the lessons because Li's wife brought her some Pringles, but he felt a mysterious presence looming from behind him. A man from the Heavenly Network had appeared, and Lu realized that his sister was in danger, so he ran home right away. When he arrived, he saw the man, and pretended like he forgot his lunch at home. Once Kaede left, the man told him that the ruins are beginning to reappear, and they will wreak chaos on their entire nation. He has come to request Master Li's aid in fighting them, but Master Li rejected. Before leaving, the man told him that the last position in the Heavenly Network is still open, and walked away. Kaede came back, and Mr. Li was excited to show her progress, so he asked her to recite the sentence he taught her.
有朋自远方来，不亦乐乎?
After nearly getting a heart attack from that last comment, he handed Lu 2 vials to test their ranks, and walked away. At night, Lu was excited to see how much he'd evolved from the celestial fruit, and saw that his blood had turned dark enough to classify him as an A rank. However, his vial began shining the colors of the galaxies, and he wondered what this could have meant. As he tried burying it outside, Master Li asked him what rank he'd become, but Lu lied to him, saying that he was still an F rank, and farmed his ass for more coins. Throughout the nights that passed, he continued singing his song, completing more planets in the nebulas, until a blue aura began surrounding him. He tried something you shouldn't try at home, and realized that the second solar system provided him with protection against injuries. He wondered how his sister was doing, but inside of her solar system, black holes were the only thing that appeared, and the center of the nebula began sucking her inside. When he entered her room, he saw how she was consumed by the darkness of her celestial map, but she snapped back to reality, and told him that she finally broke through the first layer. He wondered what abilities she managed to unlock, so she focused her energy and summoned a body of an ant, revealing that the poor bug died last night, but now obeys all of her commands. He wondered if they could summon more, so outside, she found a group of frozen ants, and tried summoning another one of them. But the instant it was summoned, the first ant disintegrated, and they realized her powers were limited to a single summon. He asked her what else she could create, so she spawned a flying bird, saying that her summons don't consume any of her energy, and that they can stay alive forever. Lu wondered if they could use her power to summon an awakened person, but took her to a barn where they selected a poor pig for experimentation. He punched the magical pig to see if it would react the same way as a normal one, but realized that he should summon his magical sword instead. As soon as it came out, the pig ran for its life, but his sword struck through the pig, annihilating it with a single blow. Kaede was about to make her brother the next summon, but he promised that he would make her scrambled eggs for a week. However, she wanted it for 2 weeks. As he fed her the scrambled eggs, he felt a surge of energy coming from the bridge, so he got up to leave. But Kaede jumped on his back, saying that she's going to tag along. After leaping between buildings, they saw the 3 men fighting against Lu's instructor, and among one of the bandits was a D-rank awakener. The bandit casted hundreds of fireballs towards sci-fi with ease, but he managed to parry all of them with his hand, until the ropes of the bridge caught fire. While he was distracted, the man leaped towards him and used his strength to nearly crush him down. But as he ran away, one of them began manipulating the floor beneath him to throw him off balance. The second defender rushed in with her sword and took care of his allies. However, none of them were able to lay a scratch on their leader, so Zai activated his magical sigil to explode both of them on the spot. Using the fog to his advantage, their leader hid inside the smoke. 2 of Zai's comrades ran through, but as soon as they entered, a giant explosion lit the entire bridge on fire. With all the smoke settling, the 3 bandits emerged unscathed, so Lu told Kaede to head back while he went in to discover the identities of the bandits. The National Guard had completely surrounded their location, and began infiltrating their hideout, but they had already escaped to a different alley. The 2 lackeys realized that they were about to be executed, so they begged their leader to just turn themselves in. However, their leader revealed that the Heavenly Network would never leave them alone after eliminating 2 of their soldiers, so he told his comrades that he'll create a distraction while they tried to escape. With the soldiers drawing near, the leader blew up the door to knock them out, but the rest had already surrounded him. The leader knocked both of the guys unconscious and began using them as body shields, running away from all the attackers. While running through the alleys, one of the soldiers drew body paint from his hand and enchanted his sword to stab their leader against the wall. Without anywhere to escape, the soldiers noticed Lu's glowing aura standing above them, so he tried saying that he was looking for his lost cat here. Zai commanded the soldiers to catch him and began casting sigils towards both of them. However, Lu front flipped across and used their swords as stepping stones because he was a parkour god now. The bandit threw his comrades as distractions, but the general used his swords to open his wound, and they began fighting against him. At the same time, Lu countered both of the female soldiers and used one of their sheaths against them in battle. He dodged all of their attacks with ease and countered by sheathing her sword back, knocking her against the wall. When the second one ran behind him, he used the sheath to knock her back to the other side, and using his superior acrobatics, he backflipped to avoid the sword slashes, knocking the last soldier unconscious. Beneath him, the leader was capable of parrying all of the soldiers' blows, but the dual wielder pinned him against the wall and nearly restrained him. However, the man crushed the metal swords with his bare hands and grabbed his head, launching tens of punches towards his throat and dragging him across the wall. Zai casted several sigils towards the man, but none of them even left a scratch on him. He threw the unconscious soldier towards Lu and punched towards the ground, creating a black mist that blinded the entire field. Zai tried to catch Lu off guard, but he leaped and knocked the pole down. Debris began flying from inside, until Zai casted his sigils to light up the entire field, but a barrel came right towards him. As soon as he realized it was filled with gas, the barrel exploded in his face, and he was sent crashing towards the wall while burning away. When the fog cleared, Lu noticed how all the soldiers had been knocked away, and the bandit was the only one who remained, so Lu powered up with all of his energy. The bandit prepared to punch towards Lu, but he managed to hold it off with his fist. His corpse-dog sword inside of him began burning, and it pierced through the bandit's bones, ripping his entire arm off. Once he was home, he took off his invisibility cloak and told Kaede that he wanted to test her powers one more time. As they left the house, Lee wondered what the fuck they were doing so late at night, so Kaede said he was taking her to a 5-star restaurant and will spend his entire life savings to make her happy. Blue asked Master Lee if he would like to join, but the old man told them to be careful at night. When they got closer to the scene, Kaede summoned her bird to get an aerial view of the location, making sure there were no enemies around. As soon as she cleared the area, Lu went back to the location of their fight, but noticed that all the bodies had disappeared. Kaede jumped in, and she noticed the energy of the men who passed away in the area. Lu told her to swallow their souls, so she absorbed one of their energies, but couldn't bring it out yet. She thought a single day of regaining her strength would allow her to summon him, and Lu was glad that they were finally able to make some progress. He told her that it was time to go home, but she told him that he still didn't take her to the 5-star restaurant yet. Lu said he was just making an excuse for the old man, but she told him that he wishes, because she's about to drain his entire broke-ass pocket. At the noodle shop, she began devouring his noodle, and Lu told her that he wishes he could take her out to eat every day like this. If she were to stay in the orphanage, he thinks it would allow her to live a better life. But when she heard those words, she began holding back her tears, wondering why he wanted to send her back there. She began crying, telling him that it doesn't matter if she doesn't have a coat or if she doesn't have enough food. The only thing she cares about is him, because he's her family. He remembers when he first snuck out of the orphanage and how she held his hand because she didn't want him leaving her. However, he turned away, leaving her alone all that time. As he struggled to continue living homelessly, he began selling eggs to afford his rent and studied with whatever time was left. The loneliness slowly began eating away at him, but he finally saw Kaede appearing in front of him. At first, he tried sending her back to the orphanage, but she clinged onto him, and her smile became the light that helped him get through the days. He took her back to his apartment, and she was happy to begin living with him every single day. Whenever his eggs wouldn't sell, and he wasn't able to afford food, he would take whatever damaged crops he found from the other sellers and bring them back home for his sister to eat. Day after day, and even through the freezing winters, Kaede tried doing her best to take care of her brother. Even when he was too sick to leave, she would try to sell the eggs on her own, because as long as she was able to continue living with him, it didn't matter what she had to deal with. They became each other's warmth and survived through every winter. Remembering all the things they've been through, Lou revealed that he wanted to buy their house eventually. He doesn't want to worry about constantly paying rent and living on the edge of starvation, so he promised his sister that they will one day buy their home, because they're family. She held his hand, wondering if their days were going to get better, so he told her that they definitely will, and held her hand closer. The following morning, Lou was back to selling his stinky tofu, but he was beginning to run out of it, and people had grown accustomed to its stink, so he wasn't able to gain more coins. One of the people asked Lou if they could get more than one tofu, but he told him that they're all sold out, and gained coins off all of them. He realized that just by telling these hungry f***s that he was sold out, he would get rich as shit, so he began baiting them into thinking he had tofu, and then crushing all of their useless f***ing dreams. At night, a man uncovers all of his wife's life savings, and takes all of them before leaving. Meanwhile, the clock struck midnight, and Kaede was finally able to achieve her goal. She began knocking on Lou's door and showed him the man she had summoned. Lou wondered if she was able to control his powers, and she revealed that she can do everything to him, even read his memories to find the location of the money they stole. While trying to focus, she remembered the place where him and his comrades hid the money, and was excited to go and dig it up. However, Lou told her that they would hand the money back to the police when they found it, but Kaede was sad to hear those words. She wondered if they really needed to give them the money, because if they had all of it, they would be able to finally buy this house, and she wouldn't need to worry about going back to the orphanage. Lou kneeled down, promising her that he would never abandon her, and that they would get their home ethically. However, he told her to get her ugly ass face to sleep, and said,
Good night, girl. I'll see you tomorrow.
She walked away angrily, but Lou remembered how badly she wanted to keep living with him, and saw the flyer for his home, saying it was on sale for $240,000. The following morning, the fat person who stole his wife's life savings walked in front of everyone in the school, but Lou realized he was a B rank awakener. The man took the podium and introduced himself as the new director of the school. However, Lou felt like something was off about the guy. At night, the new director introduced himself as Lee because the author couldn't bother to come up with more names, and wore a Harry Potter suit. Since they have located a mysterious C-rank awakener who easily destroyed an entire field of soldiers, they will begin providing all the students with spirit stones each month. In accordance with each person's strength level, C-rank awakeners will be awarded 1, B rank will receive 2, and A rank will receive 10. The class leader looked at Lou mockingly, but panicked when he saw Lou smiling and texting him. Lou messaged him that he had awakened thanks to wrestling with his mom all night, and said,
Congratulations, you played yourself.
After they were dismissed, Lou met up with Jang in the alley, and asked him if people would buy the spiritual stones on the black market. Jang told him that it's illegal to sell the stones, but there is definitely some interested millionaires, and they'd be willing to buy each one at $100,000 per stone. Lou realized he struck gold, and told Jang that he wants to sell them for $120,000 instead, so Jang called up someone who might be interested. Within seconds, the man accepted the deal, and asked him for his bank account number. Lou was shocked how easily that was done, and gave his stones to his friend, saying that he trusts him since they've been close friends. With this deal closed, he no longer had to worry about all those nights when he would freeze in the cold, just so he can get something nice for his sister. After buying her snacks from the convenience store, Lou showed her the land deed for this house, saying that it's finally going to be theirs. Additionally, he gave her the new phone he bought for her, and had added himself to the contacts already. Starting tomorrow, this place will be theirs. The courtyard, the floor, the walls, the plates, and even the ants. They will own all of it. She hugged him, crying because they're finally going to be together, and asked him if he's going to continue needing to work every day. He told her that he will keep selling so they could afford their food. But the f***ing menace just wanted to piss people off for coins. In his bedroom, the celestial map appeared before him once again, and the second nebula was finally completed. At the same time, however, a dark ominous aura continued swirling towards his sister. While selling his food, Lou made fun of all the people for being brokies, saying, "You're broke!" and gained hundreds of points. Lee came up and asked for some stinky tofu, but realized that Lou's face was familiar. Lou revealed that he's one of his students, so Lee told him that he will be getting the tofu for free every day. But the seller right next to him screamed at the director to stop taking advantage of poor little ugly ass orphan Lou, because his mom already didn't love him, which is why she threw him out, and everyone in school bullies him because he's such a disgusting lonely loser. Damn! The man tells him that Lu works every single day just to barely afford his food at home, and studies with all of his free time. Hearing his sad story, Lee cried and handed Lu $100 as an apology. The man wondered who the f*** that cheap bastard was, and Lu said he was their new principal. After finally signing all the paperwork to buy their home, an unknown number called him, saying that he must come to the ruin that opened up immediately. He messaged his sister that they finally own the home, but he will need to go on a field trip for a few days. At night, a girl on Tinder sent him a plot-filled photo, but he told her that she looks so disgusting. It's no wonder her dad walked out on her.
You're a victim.
Hundreds of military vehicles transported them to the ruined site, so Lu decided to say they smelled like an anime convention, and the coins began piling up. Once they arrived, the chef served them their meals, but the class leader came and told Lu that he was happy to finally see him eating food, rather than the shit he gets out of an orphanage dumpster. Lu sighed, and Saria appeared from behind, but disappeared when he tried looking back. While they ate their lunch, some fat ass looked for a place to sit, so one of the soldiers gave him his seat to calm him down. Once he left, however, Lu approached him and told him to stand up, but smacked him in the back of his fat ass neck, causing him to lay unconscious on the ground. What a fucking Chad. Jang said he was surprised that he was able to put that fatso in his place, and offered some of his food as a reward. He told him that since they were next to the ruins, their systems would level up much faster. So at night, Lu wondered how he could enter his celestial map without singing his lullaby, but realized that he could use all this time to gain coins instead. While the class leader was meditating, Lu began breathing heavily on him, and kept distracting him from his meditation. The fucker started reciting his life story to distract his thoughts, and kept laughing in his face. The points kept going up all night, and by the morning, the menace had gained 47,000 coins off being an annoying cunt. He wondered how his sister was doing, but there was no cellular data. At lunch, the chef gave him more food because he knocked out the person consuming an entire barrel, and the soldier decided to give him his seat, but Lu rejected because he wanted to sit on Jang's lap instead. Jang wondered how he was planning on ranking up, so Lu revealed that he just needed to arm wrestle the class leader once again. Every night, he began reciting more of his life story, and the poor guy was ready to go insane from hearing his voice without a break. He ran to the edge of a cliff where he thought he was finally safe, and began peacefully meditating. But Lu came back again, and the class leader realized there was only one thing he can do to escape his suffering. Jumping off the cliff. The following day, Lu was meditating away from everyone else, and entered his celestial map to release the rest of his fruits, and unlocked a new planet. In exchange, a light swirled around him and formed a dark cloak that encapsulated his body, giving him a new invincibility power. While they all gathered for lunch, the guys tried letting Lu go ahead of them, but the class leader came laughing while looking for Lu. He made fun of Lu for still being at F rank, but Lu asked him if he wanted to wrestle once again to see who's the strongest. However, the class leader wanted to spar instead, but Sai told them that there won't be any fights except for arm wrestling, so the class leader reluctantly agreed. Inside the camp's tent, both of the guys faced off against one another, and everyone was betting on the class leader to win. But as soon as the round started, Lu smashed his arm into the table harder than he smashed his mom last night. He began screaming that he ranked up once again, and the poor class leader started wondering why he was clapped harder than his mom. Zai asked Lu if he wanted to arm wrestle as well, so they began facing off one another. But Lu defeated him instantly, and he said that it's all thanks to the class leader's mom because he gets to wrestle her every night. After they were done, Lu noticed a mist appearing from the ruin, and Jang revealed that the portal has finally opened. The only way for someone to exit it would be to obtain the eye, or they'll be trapped inside for the rest of their life. However, the alarms began going off, and the fog began spreading throughout the camp, consuming every single person as they tried running away. Before he knew it, Lu was sucked into the vortex and fell onto his head, but barely got up after receiving a severe concussion. In the middle of the wilderness, an axe started flying towards his head, but he dodged it and a skeleton knight approached him, and began trying to slash him down. However, Lu managed to grab his axe and knock him down, breaking all of his bones. After he defeated the skeleton, Lu decided to climb a giant stone to get an aerial view of his location, and wondered where everyone had disappeared off to. However, an arm began coming out of the ground, so he jumped off and started running away before the skeletons could grab him. But after he had managed to escape them, a group of 4 students came running towards him, and told him that he needed to run if he didn't want to lose his life. He saw as one of his classmates was devoured by a zombie, so Lu ran to slash his head off, and began slashing all of the zombies standing in his path. As he was distracted, a zombie jumped on top of him and was ready to bite his neck off, and instead of helping him, the other students were too scared to save him, so Lu struggled to regain the upper ground and smashed the skeleton's skull off. As he walked back to them, they begged him to stay and protect them, but he told them that the zombies will begin coming out of the ground to hunt them, so he dropped his axe and said they were on their own. The girl realized that he might have still protected them if they had saved him. As a few more days passed, Lu knocked down a zombie before using his acrobatics to defeat the other 5 standing in his way, and slashing them down with the sword he obtained. When darkness approached, he headed for a mountain to keep the high ground, but along the way, he saw the kind officer who offered his chair for him, but kept running as the vultures devoured his corpse. Nighttime began approaching faster than he thought, but a signal flare appeared, so he leaped into the sky to knock it down, and traced it back to the place it came from. Inside a ravine, he saw a man that was holding a flare gun, but he knew that they weren't given those in his class. On top of that, his system revealed the man's name to be just numbers instead of letters, so he jumped down and wondered if he was a spy. Before the mist had devoured everyone, a group of spies had loaded up their signal flares, and the guy facing Lu was one of them. But since Lu had already pissed off everyone in the school and memorized their mothers' faces, he knew that this guy was definitely not one of them, so he was about to have a field day messing with his ass. As the night passed, he continued gaining points just by looking at his ugly face, but the man eventually tried introducing himself as Chang. However, Lu told him that he's never met a person who's this ugly before, so Chang tried asking him if he could see the sword he picked up, and the two began slowly walking towards one another. However, before he could grab it, Lu pulled it away and told him that he was going to penetrate his mom with it later. Chang told him that his mom passed away last year and tried sneaking away, but Lu apologized and promised that he'll look over him to make sure he's safe, pissing him off even more. He had found his new victim to farm for coins, and he knew that there was no chance he would let him get away. They kept running after one another, and Chang was shocked that Lu was able to keep up with him. But zombies began coming from inside the earth and surrounded them. Chang saw this as an opportunity to escape from Lu, but was shocked that he was still tailing him, so he told him to hand his sword over so he could protect them. But as they ran for their life, Lu thought this was the perfect time to start fucking with him again. And when he turned to grab the sword, Lu hugged onto it and pretended to be scared for his life. When 3 zombies surrounded them, Lu pushed Chang onto the ground and began running away. One of the zombies tried biting Chang, but he used a pocket knife to eliminate his enemies and began running for his life. When Lu thought he was finally away from him, he saw him turning the corner and glaring, so he started pretending like he was out of breath. Chang got closer while concealing his weapon, but Lu told him to find a place where they could rest for the night, so he decided to put his knife away, and they ran towards the giant hill. After they climbed it together, Lu wondered who this person is, but realized it was the perfect chance to start farming his ass for even more coins. In front of him, he pretended to fall asleep defenseless. Before long, morning approached, and Lu had managed to farm 30,000 coins off this Karen haircut dude, but started feeling hungry for not eating within the last 2 days, so he got up and said he was going to look for something to eat. When he was out of sight, he began eating his stinky tofu and decided to sneak from the opposite way he came through. When he saw Chang laying down and looking for him, he decided to give him 1,000 years of pain, and Chang screamed for his life, but wondered why he was smelling some expired tofu. He wondered how it's possible for him to find food here since he'd been starving for the past week. But Lu began naming all the delicious meat, like bacon, lamb, and steak, causing Chang to release all of his anger in a strike. Lu narrowly parried, and with the fog around them, Chang tried slashing him down. But Lu's acrobatics weren't enough to prevent him from being kicked in the face. As he spun, Chang ran to destroy him, but Lu grabbed his arm and threw him down. However, Chang regained his footing and attempted to slash at Lu, but he was able to parry and evade all of his attacks, and head-butted him before punching him away. Chang realized that he was no match for his superior athleticism, so when the fog blinded Lu, he tried running to slash him down, but Lu's martial arts abilities allowed him to hit Chang down. However, Chang grabbed his sword and knocked it away, so Lu rushed forward, but sidestepped in the last second out of the way, and summoned his mystical corpse dog to slash him down, winning the fight. He was sad that he had ended the life of a person who spent an entire day with him, and realized that the world truly is a cruel place. This wasn't the life he wanted, but if this is the way it's going to be, he promised to keep moving forward, and wished he could see his sister. A few days later, Lu stumbled upon an apple that was half eaten and realized that he finally found some fruit to replace his stinky tofu. He began climbing the tree and picked one of them, but the squirrels started going berserk, so he decided to eat them in front of their face and steal all of them. They began trying to stone him, and a sumo squirrel left his cave, taking a giant stone to throw at Lu, so he decided to be a menace even to animals. As he tried running away, he realized that the fruit fully restored his energy and thirst, so he kept running all the way until the sun was setting and he arrived at a river. Once he drank some water, he began eating even more fruit, and realized that the formation eye should be in the middle of the ruin. But before he could go there, a wolf appeared from behind him, and a second one tried launching at him, but he slashed it down and tried running. As he turned the corner, however, he saw 30 wolves waiting to fight him off. Lu started running for his life, but at least he was getting hundreds of points each second. When he got back to the forest, the squirrels started throwing the stones at him, so he promised to steal all their fruit when he got back. Once he was out of the forest, a wolf leaped and slashed his arm, and when he tried eating a celestial fruit, he noticed that the body paint wouldn't stop coming. As dire as it seemed, he knew that he would come back to his sister alive, so he ran for hours all the way until the night, but the wolves continued chasing him. Eventually, his shoes began wearing down, so he threw them to knock 2 of the wolves out, and began running again. He realized that it felt even better running without shoes, and his speed was significantly increased. He managed to outrun the wolves, and found a few of his schoolmates grouped together, so he decided to make a grand entrance before them. He saw that one of them was carrying his axe, and they asked him if he would help them, but Lu said that he'd rather have all the ugly people pass away, especially for saying axed instead of asked. He had just stumbled upon an infinite coin glitch by roasting desperate people, so he asked them how long it's been since they've eaten. The girl revealed that it's been 3 days, and they were beginning to starve without any food or water. She begged him to save her, but he called her a gold digger and started eating in front of them. The crunches of the apples nearly made some of them climax. The gold digger was back at it again, and got on her knees, so he showed her the tasty apple, and she opened her mouth wide open and closed her eyes.
He cold.
The guys realized there were 8 of them and 1 of him, so their leader threateningly asked him for his food. But Lu began reciting all the different types of wagyu steak and bacon with maple syrup blueberry waffles, and the guy slowly started losing consciousness after hearing all those foods. Lu was shocked that he managed to last that long, and got up to grab his axe, scaring all of them away. He asked him if he wanted his axe back, and when the man said he did, Lu told him that's too bad, so he took his sword and started running away from them, leaving those ugly losers defenseless. But at least he left them 2 apples. A while back, Lu was trolling a girl during the test, and when he got a note asking him what the answers were, Lu threw a paper to the class leader saying that he f***ed his mom last night.
You're a victim!
Another week passed inside the ruin, and Lu wondered if his sister was still fine, but as he let those words out, he heard a horse's footsteps, and a skeleton knight turned the corner. In an instant, it tried slashing towards his face, and Lu barely managed to hold his footing from slipping. But as he struggled to take it away, he heard 2 more horses running in the distance, so he snatched the spear away and knocked the skeleton off. The rest of the skeletal soldiers came, but Lu began climbing the mountain so they couldn't reach him. However, they began shooting arrows towards him, but he managed to evade all of their attacks until they gave up their fire, and started walking away. With his spear gone, the skeleton soldier decided to just take out his small sword and walked away. In the distance, a group of Heavenly Network soldiers had spotted that cavalry of skeletons, and one of them suggested killing the leader to throw them in chaos, so the man looked until he saw one of them was just holding a sword instead of a spear. The sniper decided to fire to shoot down the leader, but after successfully eliminating the leader, they realized that they shot the wrong skeleton, and so the knights began firing their arrows towards them. They began running away, and when they cleared the area, one of them saw Lu sneaking along the cliff. Before they could make a move, Lu jumped down to steal one of the knight's spears and climbed back up the cliff. All of them began firing arrows once again, but he dodged all of their shots and walked off with his new spear. While hiding on a tree, Lu waited for the soldiers to leave before jumping down, and realized that his weapons would be confiscated once they made it out of the ruins. So to make sure his hard work isn't wasted, he decided to trade them to the other students. But just then, he fell for the knight's trap, and they began encircling him. This was all part of their plan, but Lu was going to hold his ground, and enhanced his spear with his mystical energy, and launched it into the sky. After grabbing the weapons, the spear slashed two of the knights, and Lu launched towards the leader to spear him down, and threw his axe at another one. He grabbed a third spear, and narrowly evaded the oncoming slash, but when the skeleton nearly twisted at him, he ducked away, and laughed at the skeleton's face. One of them tried firing an arrow, but Lu threw his spear while flipping and grabbed a different one while the skeleton was eliminated, and threw his spear at the skeleton rushing towards him. The leader tried slashing him down with his sword, but Lu managed to fend him off, and knocked a skeleton riding the horse. Immediately, he slashed the swordsman, and leaped towards the last skeleton to smash him into the ground. After defeating all of them, he managed to secure all of their weapons. Meanwhile, Kaede was throwing darts at her brother's face for leaving her this long, and called him a bastard. However, she opened the box he told her not to open, but she found another box inside. After a while of opening boxes, she saw a bag of chips inside, but the note told her to wait until he's home so they can eat it together, so she smiled and put it away, but was sad that he wasn't responding to any of her texts. Meanwhile, Lu was climbing up another mountain to ambush more soldiers, but while he waited, he started meditating, and finally ate another celestial fruit. The magical aura transported him back into his solar system, and he was able to unlock another planet while feeling the power of it. The Heavenly Network prepared to ambush a group of 9 skeleton soldiers, and when they were about to get the surprise attack on them, a spear appeared from the sky to shoot their leader down. After the body disappeared, 2 more launched from the sky, and a third one speared the skeleton against the wall. Lu finally made his entrance, and the Heavenly Network decided to help him. But Lu eliminated another soldier with his spear, and began rushing towards the others to slash them down. With only 2 soldiers remaining, Lu unsheathed his sword and started sprinting towards one of them, slashing the knight down. When one of them tried ambushing him from the back, Lu ducked and stabbed the soldier, eliminating him. They wondered just how powerful he was, and a guy with literally no fucking eyes wondered if it was Lu Shu. His friend told him that he should just fucking open his eyes instead of asking that dumbass question, and they wondered what was going on. However, Lu told them that all of the weapons were his. After a while, he managed to gather all the spears and swords, and protected all of his weapons. The leader asked him why he's collecting all the weapons if he can't use them, so he revealed that he was wrong, and began flaunting his weapons around, telling everyone that they can come and get all the weapons and armor for a good cheap price. All his years of selling eggs have built up just for this moment, and he told them that defense is worth more than gold in this situation. So a man asked him if he could buy a sword, but Lu realized that no one had cash. He asked the man how much his jade necklace was worth, and when the man said $13,000, Lu offered the trade, but the man rejected the deal. A soldier decided to make a deal, and offered his $12,000 watch in exchange for the sword. One of them offered a 27-karat gold chain, while another one offered a $2,000 watch. He saw how they were injured, and while every normal person would have wanted to help them out, the fucker decided to just make a profit off their ass. Everyone began lining up, and before long, Lu was more dripped out than a rich rapper. 2 people decided to bring their funds together, and he paid $2,000 for a sword, but Lu handed him an axe, saying that $2,000 was too cheap for a sword. But he showed him that the axe was actually sharper than a sword, so the man gladly accepted.
总算把这斧子处理出去了。
By the time he was done trading, the group entered the center of the ruins, and Lu was the happiest man alive to be this rich. After walking for hours, they decided to camp out for the night, and Lu noticed how everyone was starving and running out of water. So for the first time in his life, he decided to not be a menace, and handed the leader a bunch of apples so they could each slice it and have a piece. As soon as everyone ate the slice, they realized that all their energy was restored, and all of their hunger and thirst were quenched. One of them came to offer a $31,000 watch for an apple, so Lu gladly accepted his deal, and realized that he was about to be a millionaire. One of them tried calling Lu evil for hoarding all the food, but he said their life would be easier if they weren't so useless. Suddenly, a gust of wind blew through the ravine, and tens of ghosts started flying towards them. All of the students prepared to engage, but when the ghosts got closer to them, Lu felt his corpse dog attempting to exit his chest. but he tried hiding it away before revealing his secret weapon. As soon as a ghost got close, they felt the mystical presence emanating from Lu, and it saw him as a demonic being, so it ran away, and all the ghosts began escaping the area. Lu realized that his abilities just keep getting more overpowered as this show goes on. Eventually, they finally made it to the center of the ruin, and one of the guys told his friend that Saria had saved him from 2 skeletons before meeting his doom. When the guy saw her eyes, he wished she was holding his spear like that. Lu pretended like he didn't see her at all, and realized that it was the perfect chance to flex how rich he'd become, so he began selling his weapons for even more jewelry. All of them began offering him thousands of dollars for his weapons, and by the time he finished selling most of them, a man called him to meet with the leaders of the Heavenly Network. When he arrived, he made sure to show off how rich he is in case Saria was a gold digger, and the leader introduced himself, telling him to quit selling his spears since he knows how to use them. Lu agreed, so the leader approached the center of the ruin and began activating his magic. From his core, he took out a sword and sent it rushing down the center of the ruin. After scouting the hole, the leader decided that they will dive inside starting tomorrow. But while they were resting, Lu's system contained 9 spies with numbers for a name, but he had no idea who they could be. Out of nowhere, a tree started falling, and Lee was the one shaking it down. However, a squirrel came out from inside and started screaming at him, but saw Lu's ugly face and tried attacking him. When they gathered all the fruit, the poor squirrel was about to have a heart attack, but Lu handed him an apple while he was crying, and the squirrel became eternally grateful for him. Jang finally came to meet up with Lu, but a couple of people wanted to steal some of Lu's weapons, so their leader came and offered to pay $50,000 for a spear when they got out of here. However, Lu told him he wouldn't fall for a scam, and when he gained coins from a person with numbers for a name, he realized he was a spy, so he told him to piss off already. While everyone slept at night, Lu was glad that his sister was still angry at him because it was making him rich, but realized that she absolutely despised him now. While Lee slept, all the spies woke up and started running towards the center of the ruin and jumped straight down. When the last one also tried jumping in, something stopped him from falling down, and Lu told him that he won't snitch if they split the profits, with 99% going to Lu and 1% going to him. The spy realized he was screwed, so he accepted the deal. But as soon as Lu left, he tried jumping down. However, Lu grabbed him again and smiled in his ugly face. The spies realized one of them was missing, but they decided to keep moving forward anyway. The remaining spy tried catching Lu off guard and threw a sigil towards him, but Lu was already in a completely different place. The bandit released his sword. However, Lu began screaming to wake everyone up, and yelled that there is a spy trying to steal the formation eye. As soon as he realized the situation he was in, a mystical tiger appeared and Lee's hand grabbed his face, smashing him into the ruin. Seeing that there were spies among them, Lee told them that they were going to head into the ruins right now instead of resting for the night, before the spies could steal their items. However, Lu wondered if they could keep the man alive so they could question him, but Lee pretended like he never heard those words and walked away. The students began lining up, but the director thought that Lu looked dumb as fuck wearing all those jewels. Later on, Lee realized he could finesse his ass, so he asked him if he would like to make a deal. He revealed that hundreds of ruins are going to begin opening, but since he's just a student, he wouldn't be able to enter without his permission, and all of it would be for the price of a single gold chain. Lu thought about the offer, but called him ugly and walked away. When everyone was prepared to enter, a woman walked towards the center and activated a magical spell that began creating stairs along the edge of the hole. As they walked down, hundreds of ghosts began rushing from the center, but Lu tried hiding his corpse dog away from them. By the time they arrived to the bottom of the pit, Lee saw that all of their bodies were stiff, so their spirits must have left their body because of the ghosts circling around. After walking for hours, they finally reached the entrance to the ruin's core, but as soon as they entered, the gate closed behind them. From above, the crystals began glowing, and hundreds of ghosts appeared, so from his fist, Lee summoned all of his magical power to blow them away with a single shot. However, there were still more than 80 above, so the soldiers started trying to take them down together. When a ghost tried attacking Lu, it was too scared to get close, and he wondered why he was so invincible. He began attacking all the ghosts and absorbing their bodies into his sword, so he began chasing them away and farming their coins. However, one of the spy's ghosts eliminated Lee's lifelong friend, so he screamed in a fit of rage to release his tiger powers and eliminate all of them. While Lu wondered where the rest went off to, his corpse dog started beaming, and he knocked the ghost before it could reach him, giving him a shit ton of coins. They wondered how he knew the ghost was going to attack him, but he said it was just a coincidence and pure luck, so he tried showing Lee by attacking a random place, but Lee's attack landed, shocking all of them. Lee told him to try once again, but after a while of listening to Lu, none of his attacks landed, and all of them believed that he was actually just lucky. From the center gate, an army of zombies appeared, and Lee told them that he will take care of their leader, so he vanished towards him and their powers began clashing against one another. Lee summoned a strike that quaked the entire ground beneath them, and eliminated his horse before landing. The rest of the soldiers drew their weapons and rushed forward to fight against the zombies, but while they all battled, Lu began spearing the soldiers, getting a triple collateral with a single spear. However, one of them nearly shot his face off, but Saria came to save him from meeting his doom, and used her agility to evade all of their attacks while slashing all of them down. He thought she looked amazing, but began rushing to eliminate a zombie. However, the zombie started running away for his life, and he realized that his corpse dog was scaring all of them off. Their army was slowly advancing, and while Lu contemplated helping his allies from dying, he realized that he was in a giant castle, so he decided to sneak around and start looking for some expensive shit to sell. In the middle of the road, his corpse dog started beaming light, and a mysterious aura was watching over him. When he entered a certain room, a ghost was preparing to ambush him and leaped forward. But Lu bent over and used his sharp sword to penetrate through the ghost's body, eliminating him in that instant. He wondered just how many spies were remaining. At the same time, Lee was fighting for his life, and the skeleton tried throwing the ground towards him, but Lee parried the attack and rushed forward. However, the skeleton dodged all of his attacks, but Lee continued pursuing with his martial arts tactics, and kept pushing back and forth until he grabbed the soldier's spear and hung on tightly. The skeleton called him an annoying fly, and began throwing him around while he clung onto his weapon. At the same time, Lu had finally approached the door to the center room in the castle and opened it. As he walked inside, he heard something moving, and a knight appeared from behind, but as soon as he moved away, 12 more lit their eyes up and began advancing towards him. Immediately, his corpse dog flew out, preventing the guards from advancing, and they retreated back into their positions. As he put his spears away, he realized that this was the perfect opportunity to make some more money, so he stared at the guard's face and tried pulling his weapon away. The poor royal guard was getting pissed, but eventually gave up his weapon, and Lu continued gaining coins off of them. He began going to every guard and taking their weapons away. Meanwhile, the soldiers were still fighting for their lives, and Lee tried grabbing onto the spear so they could escape this formation, but the knight had grabbed it at the same time, and they began clashing heads with their mystical energies over them. None of the soldiers were able to make any advancements, but just before the leader was eliminated, Saria unsheathed her sword and eliminated 5 skeletons within the span of half a second. She told him his dick fell off. The leader of the skeletons concentrated his energy into 3 dragons that began rushing towards Lee, but he barely dodged, and after they exploded on him, the director saw that Lee was trapped by 7 dragons, with an 8th one appearing to bite him from the back. However, Lee wasn't going to give up his grip on the sword, but the skeleton merely let go and allowed the dragons to consume him. As all hope seemed to be lost, Lee released his ultimate spell to break free and rushed towards the knight, grabbing his spear and kicking off of him. Saria continued eliminating the rest of the skeletons as she gained the upper ground to look for where Lu disappeared off to. As he went deeper into the room, the skeleton felt a presence in the room he was supposed to guard, so he let go of the spear and started running away. When Lee grabbed on the spear and saw that nothing was happening, he realized that the formation eye was something else and began running after the knight. When the leader came back, he saw how none of the guards had their spears, but Lee had already caught up to him. However, the skeleton commanded the knights to end his life and started running towards Lu's location. The allied armies were beginning to dwindle down, and after Lu picked up a strange item, he noticed the skeletal soldier standing behind him. In an instant, he tried running towards him, but Lu dropped a mysterious item from a box, and a girl was about to meet her demise. While it was still mid-air, Lu managed to grab the object, and the colors began vanishing out of the world as he Thanos'd all the enemies out of existence. He heard the words, "Mr. Stark, I don't feel so good," but at least everyone was finally safe from this horrible ruin. The world began collapsing, and all the ground began breaking down, with the humans being swallowed up. Gravity no longer existed, and everyone's energy was now being sucked to Lu's item. Suddenly, the spears formed a circle around him before being swallowed, and when the ground beneath his legs disappeared, the squirrel tried latching onto him before vanishing back into their world. This montage of them reappearing went on for way too long, but Jang began running to look for Lu. At the same time, Saria started running to see any traces of him, but Lee decided to sneak out of camp. As all the soldiers were handing their items away, Jang ran screaming that he couldn't find Lu, but the director yelled that he did a great job sacrificing himself to save the rest. Among the other students, a few of them were glad that he passed away after scamming them, but the class leader was sad and told the director that he could look for his body. However, Lu appeared with his bling and walked up to the class leader, telling him that he can find him in his mom's bedroom. He handed his remaining weapons to the teacher and broke the table. As he started walking home, his sister's negative emotions began spiking up, and he saw a bag of chips and saw that she was waiting for him in the tree. He tried extending his arms for a hug, but she jumped down and smashed his face with her feet. She began investigating his body, and when she was done, she was happy to see that he wasn't scratched and hugged onto him, crying. He apologized for making her wait so long, but she began running home, so he started following her. As they went back to the street, he told her he'd become rich and showed her the expensive watches he got, but she couldn't care about the money anymore because the only thing she cared about was him. He promised that he would take her to a nice restaurant tomorrow, making her happy, so they pinky promised each other. On their way home, Lee was glad to see that he was back safe and told him to rest up before they continue practicing, but he thanked them for taking care of his sister while he was gone. When they were alone inside, Lu asked her to call out the energy body, and after she did, he summoned 2 magical pearls from his body. She asked him what they were, so he explained that they were the soul food he absorbed from the ghosts, but the light pearl came from the ghosts, who were originally human to begin with. He wanted to know what would happen if he ate it, so Lu stuck his ball into his mouth and made him swallow. Immediately, the energy body's strength was raised significantly, but Kaede wondered when he would stop bullying her summons. He told her that he had one last present and summoned 2 of the apples from inside. As she ate them and thought they were delicious, the fucking squirrel came out again and started calling her names for eating his food. However, Kaede grabbed him and thought he was the cutest thing she'd ever seen and started playing with his face. He told her to name it, so she decided to call him a fatso, but Lu told her that this wasn't an AniClimax title, so she decided to name the squirrel Lu as well and fed him a potato chip. After the squirrel ate it, he thought it was amazing, and Kaede got a genius idea, so she put him in front of a bag of chips, but told him that she will only feed him if he obeys her, and Lu was shocked how effective her manipulation was. Once everything was settled, he looked into the ruin and tried transporting his consciousness into it. Before his eyes, he was floating on top of the entire city, but realized that an immense amount of aura emanated from him. But there was still something off, so when he brought his consciousness back, he decided to enter the bottom of the formation eye, and saw all of his weapons that were consumed. Before his eyes, a giant door stood in his path, and as he tried pushing it open, the door barely budged, so all he got to see was a peek inside, and saw the castle that he was just in. However, Kaede started trying to wake him up, and when he tried to explain what he was doing, she hugged onto him, telling him that she was scared he was about to leave her again. He told her that he's not going to leave her for a long time, and promised to take her to dinner and buy a cool TV with all the gold chains he gathered. The winter snow was finally beginning to melt, and fireworks were lighting up the sky. But Lu was glad to be sharing this moment with Kaede, because she was the only thing that lighted up his world. Watch this next video. Till next time, my fellow legendary plot masters.